Markets still neglect a resurgence of the coronavirus cases in the US. Wall Street opened today with gains. The US dollar is losing ground that confirms growing demand for risky assets. Investors are keeping close tabs on financial records of large US banks and macroeconomic data, including the Consumer Price Index. US stock markets are trading with the overall bullish trend. Nevertheless, investors are cautious, pricing in modest growth of stocks. Futures on the Dow Jones rose 0.4% in the early New York session to trade at 26,083 points. The S&P 500 was 0.3% up at 3,157.37. Today, JP Morgan Chase reported on its corporate earnings. The financial statement reads that the bank's profits tumbled 60% in the first half of 2020. Profits for the second quarter came out better than expected. Today, investors are also evaluating financial reports from Wells Fargo and Citigroup. Traders are reacting to the US inflation data for June. The Consumer Price Index declined for 3 previous months in a row. Today, traders found out that the core CPI had grown 0.2% in June month on month. The actual figure is better than expected, as analysts projected an uptick of 0.1%. The US currency is extending weakness against the basket of its 6 major rivals. The US dollar index has been trapped in a narrow trading range at around 96.40. The greenback benefits from pandemic fears, which prevent it from a deeper fall in the short term. However, the long-term prospects for the US dollar look gloomy, as the virus will be stamped out sooner or later. The US dollar has been weighed down by several headwinds, such as low demand for dollar liquidity and muted interest in safe haven assets. The greenback has come under extra pressure amid Joe Biden's growing lead in the presidential campaign against Donald Trump. Crude oil is trading firmly in the red. WTI is struggling for the level of $40 a barrel. The authorities in California imposed additional restrictive measures that dealt a blow to oil prices, so investors have doubts about a revival of the global energy demand. On the other hand, investors cheered the news from China about staggering growth in oil imports in June to 12.99 million barrels per day. That is 3.3 million barrels more than in May. The Canadian dollar slipped on Monday, extending losses against its American counterpart. The peg climbed 0.12%, having tested the level of 1.3640. On the whole, the currency pair is trading with a mixed dynamic. Traders speculating on the loonie await a policy meeting of the Bank of Canada later today. The market does not expect any updates in monetary policy. That is all for today. Thank you for watching and see you back tomorrow.